just a day after the WWE 2K26 Attitude Era edition, we now know that there's going to be another Ultimate Edition of 2K26, being the Monday Night Wars edition. This edition is looking very cool. Again, there is no gameplay unfortunately, but the trailer opens with just a reminder of the Attitude Era, and then as the trailer continues, it slowly forms into the WCW, the NWO side of things. So as the trailer progresses here, we can see NWO Sold Out. Now, Sold Out is an arena that has been in the game before, so it wouldn't surprise me if we do see it in the game once more. And then we see Hogan dropping the leg on Andre, we have the DX invasion, and a couple other really interesting tidbits. Well, actually, I guess the first off tidbit is that Hogan and Savage could play a part in the game. Obviously, Hogan having just passed away in this last year. I had a feeling maybe that the game would actually focus on Hogan, maybe it'd be like a Hogan showcase, considering how he's been used and utilized in the last couple of, like his last few appearances there. He was kind of wheeled out in a way on Raw or Saturday's Main Event just to be like a nostalgia act. So it wouldn't surprise me if the game was to ever kind of go back to that Hulkamania, give us like a Hulkamania showcase or something. I don't know if they've ever necessarily done a Hogan specific showcase, but they have done like, you know, the 40 years of WrestleMania, the 30 years of WrestleMania and stuff like that. And obviously Hogan is a huge part of that. So, but very cool to see Savage in there as well. Savage has been in the game for a while now. He passed away a long time ago, but it's very cool that he's still included in the video games, and they've done a lot of work recently to improve his character model in these games, and you may get to see a WCW version of him in the game here. But the interesting addition in this trailer is that Goldberg with the big gold belt appears in the trailer, so I guess that pretty much confirms Goldberg for 2K26. Now, of course, Goldberg is in 2K25. He was actually a late addition, added via the Island DLC. I think I haven't played it, I haven't actually done it, but basically you play the islands, you earn the points, and then you can use those VC points to unlock Nikki Bella and Goldberg in the 2K25 game. I appreciate that we're trying something different with the Island DLC, allowing you to basically earn the DLC end game. We get a lot more clips of the Monday Night Wars, ending with the reveal of the new Monday Night War Edition cover, which kind of shows this like faction warfare thing going on, which is very cool. We have the WWE side of things and the WWF side of things with Austin, Rock, Undertaker, Triple H, Kurt Angle, and Chyna, and then on the bottom row you have Hogan, Nash, Hall, Goldberg, Booker T, and Eric Bischoff. Now, I'm gonna, like, this is a really silly argument, but the composition here really bothers me, right? Because, so you have Chyna on the end of the WWF alliance there, and then on the WCW one, there's no Tori Wilson, there's no, I don't know who else, oh my god, what's her name? The girl that, Blaze, Alundra Blaze. There we are. So there's no Alundra Blaze on there. You know, it's weird that you have, again, love Chyna on the cover. Just weird that Chyna's on the cover here, but there's no like kind of reciprocating woman on the WCW side. Likewise, you know, you've got Eric Bischoff on the cover on the WCW side, but there is no, well, I guess we know why, but there is no McMahon on the WWE side. So it's just interesting, you know, little tidbits like that are strange. Almost this cover art is almost guaranteed to be AI generated in some way, so that's kind of lame. But hey, I don't want to rag on something that's not proven. It just looks like it could be AI generated because it's a very specific formatting for all these characters. Like their heads are in very specific angles, and hey, like they take photos and videos from like a million angles per show. They probably do have these image references, but I don't know. Just looks a little too, you know, maybe. I guess the confirmation as well that Scott Hall and Kevin Nash returning to the game. They may have been in the game before, I can't remember, but obviously with Scott Hall passing away recently, it's very cool to see him still represented in the game, and he has a history of being in the WWE games, famously being cut from SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, which had a major NWO representation with the return of the NWO at that time on SmackDown. However, he left the company and was removed from the game as a result. And that's really all that the trailer really showcases. There's no gameplay here, there's no like major revelation, there's no special WCW footage to really indicate anything crazy here, but I do like the artwork that they're going for through the Attitude Era and the Monday Night War edition. I do have to wonder though, what is the point of these? They've yet to actually elaborate on really like what these editions actually are. Now, Michael Cole did have a little brief talking segment during Saturday's main event last night, where he basically explained that the Monday Night War edition is the ultimate edition of the game that comes with the most content of any version. So essentially, last year you had the Bloodline edition, which is the version that I bought. This is this year's Bloodline edition. This is the ultimate edition that gets you the season pass, probably a whole bunch of VC, every single like exclusive piece of DLC content, and maybe some extra unlocks or something. Which would then lead me to believe that the Attitude Era edition is probably going to be the deluxe edition, which will probably just have the game season pass and maybe just like one piece of DLC. Now, considering what they're doing here, it's very possible that, again, speculation, I'm not confirming anything. I'm definitely not in a position of confirming anything. Just speculating at the fact that maybe the Attitude Era edition has the Attitude Era DLCs, so we're kind of talking like kind of the My Faction Persona cards that we've had this year are now rolled into an Attitude Era DLC that is available for the Attitude Era edition. Now, the Monday Night War edition could potentially come with like an NWO pack, so you'll get the Attitude Era pack as well as the WCW pack that maybe contains people like Hollywood Hogan, Nash, Hall, Goldberg. I'm not sure. It's very rare for somebody to be DLC multiple years in a row, and obviously we're getting into muddy territory here of the My Faction cards not being available for standard players, especially after the game is taking off, you know, it's discontinued and the servers are offline. You won't be able to play My Faction anymore, so those characters will no longer be accessible. And then for them to be available as DLC the next year is a little bit shady. I think especially with someone like Goldberg, if you're going to roll Goldberg into a DLC pack for 2K26 when he's already DLC for the Island in 2K25, again, it's a little dubious, it's a little weird. Not common for somebody to be DLC multiple years in a row, but hey, that might not be the case. I'm just speculating based on what I know from previous WWE games, and usually these special edition covers usually do indicate some kind of special edition DLC. For example, the Bloodline edition here came with a whole bunch of My Faction Persona cards for the Mattel figure Jey Uso, Roman Reigns, and also Island Cosmetics. It also came with the WrestleMania 41 pack, the Rock Nation of Domination, which was a My Faction Persona card that you can use outside of My Faction, and it also got you the Season Pass and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I would not be surprised if the WCW edition or the Monday Night Wars edition comes with a whole bunch of exclusive, NWO, maybe island themed stuff alongside the WrestleMania 42 pack, which could be, the arena, maybe some exclusive characters, and then maybe like one exclusive character. So for the Bloodline edition, I guess the one exclusive character that you're getting really is the Rock Nation of Domination. Everyone else is kind of, I guess you got like Aleister Black through the WrestleMania 41 pack as well, so yeah. We'll just see how it all plays out. It does make me wonder though, what is the point of this Attitude Era theme? What's the point of this, Monday Night Wars theme? So last year we had the Bloodline edition, and that came with a whole bunch of Island exclusives. Is the Monday Night Wars edition also indicative of the fact that the Island this year has maybe been taken over by the NWO, or are we going to be playing kind of an Attitude Era themed island or showcase or something? Like, since the Bloodline edition last year was so island heavy focused, I'm really curious to see what is going to be in the Monday Night Wars edition, how it maybe relates to the island, and really like what is the point of the Attitude Era theme stuff if you're not going to have a kind of showcase. Now, that's not to say they aren't going to have a showcase. I've seen a lot of people spitting online, people like the Pro Wrestling Shoot and stuff, talking about the potential of having a My Rise or an Attitude Era themed My Rise storyline. That would be very cool, but I guess you are maybe more limited in the amount of characters that you can use in that kind of storyline, and then who's available for voice acting and all those kind of things. So again, not saying it's a bad idea, I actually think it's a great idea. I would love to play a storyline that isn't based in the current time. However, it's a little bit less likely, I would think. But with all these characters, you're allowing people to expand things like their universe mode. So are we going to get like exclusive arenas? Are we going to get exclusive commentary? Are we going to get any interesting stuff. It's going to be really interesting how they navigate the Attitude Era theme here, because there's only so many people that are still available. As I mentioned in my last video, you've got the Dudley Boys on the front cover of the Attitude Era edition, but Edge and Christian and the Hardys may not be available for this game. Now, if anyone's going to make the game, it would be the Hardys, but Edge and Christian are sadly not available for this game, presuming that AEW is not going to let them participate. But then there's lots of other asterisks as well. Like, there's no Big Show. Big Show, I know it maybe sounds silly nowadays, but he was a really big part, get it? He was a really big part of the Attitude Era. He main evented WrestleMania 2000, and you know, that whole road to WrestleMania with him and The Rock. That was a big part of the Attitude Era. He debuted literally in a cage match against McMahon and Austin. Like, that's pretty Attitude Era. You know, there's rumors that Jericho could return as soon as the Rumble, and if Jericho is not going to be in the game, well, if he gets included as a last-minute DLC, which he could potentially do, I doubt he's going to have any voice acting. He's not going to be involved in the My Rise storyline or anything like that. So again, you're navigating weird waters. There's no JR. You know, JR, the voice of the generation, the voice of the Attitude Era, Jim Ross, is currently signed as a commentator to AEW, and also is getting older. So even if he was to re-record lines for the video game, it probably wouldn't sound like him anyway, because if AEW Fight Forever is anything to go by, he just sounds bored. So I was theorizing that maybe they were going to do some sort of ruthless aggression theme for the other edition. I thought if the Attitude Era DLC or the Attitude Era edition is going to be like its own pack and you get those characters, I thought maybe the next edition would have been like the Ruthless Aggression Era, and maybe you get like an early version of John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Shelton's in AEW, ignore me, Randy Orton, you know, all these little things. But that seems to not be the case. Maybe, you know, I said this on my live stream that, you know, I personally am all for the Attitude Era. I absolutely love the Attitude Era, and I'd love to see it represented in game. After all, it has been 10 years since we last actually saw the Attitude Era in a video game. But I realized that as I'm getting slightly older, I'm maybe not the target demographic anymore. Perhaps WWE need to start looking into the Ruthless Aggression Era and maybe start representing those players a lot more. And you know, outside of the video games, I've actually been thinking this anyway about how they portray like the old school Raw and the old school SmackDowns that they tend to do once a year or once every 2 years. They always go back. Like, they always, when they do old school Raw, they bring out the letters from like 96, 97. And a lot of those people probably aren't even watching WWE anymore because it's unrecognizable. You don't have your Shawn Michaels or your Undertakers or your Tatankas or whoever else was on top at that time. It's a totally different vibe. Now, I think if they were to do an old school Raw and bring it back to like the 2000s, you know, 2003, if you bring back the old stage design with the kind of slanted metal screen and all those kind of like cool Triple H's Reign of Terror. I know everyone says bad things about it, but it's such a great graphic visual style, but also like it's just an awesome vibe. And even with SmackDown, like bring back the fist, like bring back the glass shattered stage, like the stage that like Eddie Guerrero walked on and Brock Lesnar and stuff like that. So, you know, as much as I absolutely love like the 99 Ovaltron and stuff like that, I think we need to maybe start moving away from the Attitude Era. As much as I personally love it, maybe they need to start representing some of the newer generation. By the way, the 2006, the HD era is almost 20 years ago. How crazy is that? Anyway, that is it for today. There isn't really much to talk about for the Monday Night Wars edition. However, pre-orders do open on Friday, January 30th, and also Michael Cole did allude to the fact that we are getting more WWE 2K26 news on Monday Night Raw, so keep your eyes peeled on Monday Night Raw, because I have a funny feeling that they're going to be revealing the Standard Edition, which is rumored to have CM Punk on the main cover, and Punk is of course the World Heavyweight Champion right now, so he could potentially unveil the cover on Monday Night Raw. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more 2K26 news and gameplay and all the rest of it, then be sure to like the video and subscribe so that I will keep appearing in your feed and you can keep coming back to me for more news and stuff. Anyway, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.